So I just finished doing like a skateboard session. I was at the street skateboarding for like 3 hours, and it was really fun. I almost got hit by a car, but I'm fine. I didn't die basically. But one of the things that I've noticed is one of the things that I've noticed is just the importance of balance. I've noticed that a lot of people are not that balanced with their body. I've noticed it with the people that I come around. I remember I was at the gym earlier. I was training legs, and I noticed that this is kind of like a weird point, but I've noticed that a lot of people are not really into their body. I think that's kind of one of the reasons why a lot of people are not that balanced with their body. When it comes to like skateboarding, this is not a skateboard channel, by the way. It's a fitness channel. But when it comes to like balance, one of the things that I've noticed is just when it comes to balance, it's just you need to be able to control your body in a way that you're not gonna get hurt. And I learned this from a skateboarding. I've been skateboarding for like 2 weeks consistently, and I was skateboarding earlier, and there were so many times where I almost fell. So many times where I almost fell, but I had the I had the power to basically have balance, and I think that is mostly instinct. That is mostly instinct because when I was when I fell on my skateboard, I didn't really think about, oh yeah, stay balanced. It was just almost instant. But I've noticed I was watching a lot of videos about I was watching a lot of people who fall. Not really walk but fall. It's kind of like a weird thing, but I was watching people fall on some weird shit like fails, basically like parkour fails. And I've noticed people that are not really into their body are more likely to get injured and to basically fall because they're not as balanced. Basically, they're not as balanced, and I think just that's because of like most people don't really use the body as much. We don't really use our body as much anymore because we have our minds. Most of the things, most of the things that we do are online. Most of the things that we do are basically in our brains and in our minds also. And I feel like that's most people are basically turning into nerds, into like one of those like weird like movies about like nerds and like jokes or something. And I just noticed this with like the gym. I've met a lot of people that are not really into their body, and it feels kind of weird just meeting them. Obviously I don't hate them or anything like that. They're still good people in my opinion, but it feels kind of weird to see them like move around. It feels kind of weird to like see them act in public because they're not really acting in a way that I don't know what you call it, but in the gym, there's this thing called gym etiquette. You're not supposed to do things that makes people uncomfortable, basically. But most of the time, I go to the gym and I come and speak to someone. I come to speak to someone, and they're stuck in their body, and it makes me feel weird in some ways. It makes me feel weird because I kind of feel weird that they're weird. So hopefully that makes sense in some ways. You probably never have experienced this. Probably never have experienced this because you don't really go outside. Don't really go outside. But when you start speaking to some people, you would start to notice their body language, and this is not even me judging them. Like this is not even me judging them, but a lot of the people that I know that are really charismatic, really good at like speaking to people. They just they just move around. They just move around. They can freely express themselves, and I feel like that is missing in us people nowadays. I'm like Gen Z. I'm 17 years old, and I feel like my generation are not that good at socializing anymore, which is really sad because I would love to have more friends. I would love to have more friends. I have a lot of friends currently, but I would love to have more friends that I could speak to, that I could relate to. But nowadays, it's so hard to speak to people without making it weird because they're judging you in some ways. But yeah, that's kind of one of the things. Back to balance. I was watching this video about fitness basically, and it says that the most one of the fittest, one of the fuck, one of the one of the indication of basically health is balance. Having a good balance is one of those things that really helps people. Really helps. Like I was watching researches about old people. When people start getting old, and you see them, and most of them don't really have balance. Most of them cannot move in their body, and I think that's because they're not really using it that much, or they're not really doing sports. I remember I was out on a run and I saw this guy. I saw one of the I saw quite a few guys, and they move in a way that it looks like they're not able to walk properly, or like they're stuck. I've seen people stuck in their body. Let's say, like, imagine this, like a guy is walking, you're behind him basically, you're behind him, and whilst he's walking, he's not moving his arm around, but his legs are moving, and his arms are basically stuck to his side. I've seen that so many times now, and it's so insane. I was like, are these people robots or something like that? Are they like mechanics or like AI? Because it was so strange to me, because to see them move and act. And this is not me even judging, because I used to be one of those people. I was not able to basically move when I was younger. I remember I was so sick. I had like a lot of bad problems when I was younger. I had like scoliosis. I also had pectus excavatum, which basically means that your ribs are, every time you breathe, your ribs escapes into your lungs, so that, and also like your heart, and that means that you're not really able to breathe as much. And yeah, that's kind of me basically. But when I was younger, I was not able to move as much because I was not really doing a lot of sports, and that made me kind of stuck with my body. I was not able to express myself as as much as I wanted, because I'm not able to move, because I was stuck. And I also saw this. I think also the upbringing that we have, upbringing that we had in school. I remember I was in school, and one of the things that I've noticed is that you have to ask permission to go to take a piss. You go and take a pee. You have to take a permission to go and wash your hands, for example. And that was the same, because why are you not letting kids do what you want basically? And that's kind of weird for me. It's kind of weird for me that now that I look back on it. Like, one of the one of the things that I've learned is just, you a lot of the things that we do are things that we learned from childhood. It's kind of one of the things that I learned from spirituality books, and also like childhood trauma books. I was learning those things because I like reading books. I've been reading a lot of books lately, and that's kind of one of the things that I learned. It's just we learn things when we are young, and that basically gets ingrained until we notice that and basically changes it. And I was young and I was not let, you ask your teacher, or sometimes your teacher not doesn't even let you go outside to like take a piss. I remember I was in class and this this one guy, I think one girl or something, a guy or girl, he was not allowed to go outside, so he did, but he just took a piss inside the class, and I was like, this guy's fucking G. Now that I look back on it, because they didn't let the teachers tell him what to do, and that was cool as fuck. Now that I look back on it, he took a piss in class, But yeah, that's kind of one of the things. It's also like the animals, basically animals. I've been looking onto. I have. I grew up with a lot of animals. I grew up with a lot of cats. We have a dog here. Like her name is like Bella. It's like a. I don't know what you call this, but it looks like a Chihuahua. But this guy doesn't look like a Chihuahua. It looks like a full-on dog. Like you see like a Chihuahua. Like the small kinds of like dogs that really small. They have like deformed legs. This guy doesn't have that. He actually, he actually looks normal. Now that I think about it, he doesn't have the deformities that a lot of the dogs that dog breeds in the world has. Like small fucked up legs. This guy has good balance. I grew up with a lot of animals. Grew up with a lot of cats, and I remember when we have a lot of cats, and every time I go, I always notice this. A cat would go and my cat would jump from the bed, even though like we have this bunk bed, like bunk bed, and I always sleep up top, on top of the bunk bed, like two has like two beds, one below and one on top, and I used to go and sleep upstairs, basically up top, and my cat used to climb that, climb onto it, and every time the cat wants to go and basically leave my bed, basically wants to leave my bed, he would go and jump down like 6 feet, go jump down 6 feet, 7 feet, or like it was probably not 7 feet, it was like 8 feet, and he always doesn't get injured for some reason. And I think that's just because of balance, I think that's because of balance and being aware of your body, being aware of your body. That's really important now because I've been skateboarding and I've also done a lot of sports. I've done wrestling, I've done basketball, I've done sprinting, so I've I'm really aware of my body. I'm really aware of the movements, and that's really amazing. Now that I think about it, I think I take these things for granted. Having good health, being able to move. Imagine like you're like 80 years old, you're not able to move properly, and that's, now that I think about it, is pretty sad. Pretty sad. You're not able to use your body as you wanted to. So I'm really grateful that I have good balance, good health, and a good body. I'm able to move as much as I wanted because I had been doing a lot of sports. I had been working out for like 5 years. I discovered like working out 5 years ago when I was 12 years old. I was watching like a body transformation, and also like this one guy named Chris Harrier, and he was like a calisthenic athlete, and I was so inspired by his videos and also the videos that I was seeing at the time about body transformation, to the point that I just started working out because I had hope that I could become like that. And it's been a great journey. I think I made a lot of progress for a guy that was basically from Auschwitz level of anorexia. So I'm really grateful for the improvements that I made. I started out around 34 kilograms at 12 years old, and now I'm around 60, and I'm still making progress on this weight. My goal this year is to hit 70 kilograms weight, and then after that I'm gonna go and hit 80 and then 90 kilograms. So really excited for this journey. So that's gonna be basically it. Bye bye.